Every first kiss I had had in my life, I had been drinking. Their science has been bought and paid for. The opposite sex was reacting differently. You were awkward before. You have to have been divorced from your morality. 2 to 3 times more muscle. And my problem was that I had breasts.
Welcome to the video. This is first podcast style video. I don't know if I could call it that because I don't have a podcast, but this will be going on YouTube. But special guest, James Benefico, owner, founder of Organic Muscle, a supplement company. You're in Austin, Texas. I love your products mainly just because you're very ingredient focused on the highest quality stuff, which is really important to me. But thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'm excited to talk with you about health, nutrition, all this stuff.
For sure. Awesome. Well, I obviously want to talk a lot about Organic Muscle, pick your brain a little bit and see like what your thoughts are on some stuff. But just to, I guess, start from the beginning, I know you had your own weight loss journey that you had at some point years ago. Like going back to when you were a kid, like what were you like growing up in terms of like health, sports, just as a person in general?
Man, so I grew up in an Italian-American neighborhood in the Northeast, and have you ever heard the word Gavone?
Oh, damn, you're like real, you're real Italian, like you got it.
Yeah. We wanted to be,
don't know that.
We pretended to be, but it means like a slovenly pig. It's slang for a pig, and that was the endearing nickname I earned for being such a pig, the way I ate. I was a food addict. And I embraced it. It was seen as cool to be like, just like a glutton, I guess you could say. So, you know, my friends, we would drink a lot of beer, eat a lot of sandwiches and pizza and stuff. And it was fun, but I felt horrible. Meanwhile, I was a captain of the football team. So I was athletic, but my diet and nutrition was just horrible. And it really hampered what could have been a pretty good athlete. So, yeah, I felt like crap a lot of the time. And I was like, took me a while to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I eat a pizza and drink all this beer and then I don't feel good. No, it must be something else. So it took me a while to realize the impact of nutrition on how I felt and how I operated in the world.
Right on. Yeah. So this is high school, I'm assuming, or college with the football?
It was high school and college, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know it's like a cultural thing in some Italian families. Like, I don't necessarily have aunts that do that, but some will just be like sitting there, like force feeding you desserts and like having you sit at the table and just like keep eating.
Yeah, it is part of the culture. It can be, at least, where it's like they try and fatten you up a little bit. It's seen as a endearing thing, you know. You care someone, you feed them, but and it also wouldn't be so bad if our food supply wasn't completely poisoned and toxic, you know, because people in Italy, they eat pizza and pasta all the time and they're very fit, but glyphosates are banned out there and they're have way stricter regulations regarding what can be used in agriculture. So it makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely noticed that too, just like traveling, you know, like you've heard people say all the time, like, oh, I traveled and I ate shitty, but I felt like way better, like in Italy. Maybe it's just because I was happy when I was traveling to Europe, which is possible, but you're eating bread, you know what I mean? Like there's bread set out for every meal. You're constantly eating bread, where here most of it's completely different, like you said.
Dude, people used to survive on bread. It's only in recent times that bread became like this verboten, crappy food that's totally devoid of nutrients. But in biblical times, they would literally just eat bread and some honey and they'd be good, because it was like the wheat back then was actually nutritious and wasn't sprayed with garbage.
Yeah. It's frustrating. I feel like you probably have people ask you stuff like all the time, like, is certain food okay? And you're always like, the answer is always like, it's kind of nuanced.
It is.
You know what I mean? You can't just say yes or no.
Well, I say, what's the source of it and how has it been grown or treated? What's the process? Because there's a big difference between an organic strawberry and a strawberry covered in glyphosate. They might as well be different species, because one is nourishing and one is actually, you know, poisoning your gut microbiome and could cause like damage to your hormone production, like their balance of hormones. So there's so many different implications for eating various pesticides and glyphosates throughout your whole body and digestive system.
Yeah, I think that's a really big one. Maybe you looked at this too. I remember looking at something, I think it was Environmental Working Group. They have like the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. And like strawberries specifically, they're like number one always on organic. So
Yeah.
that's one I eat organic only, like if I have them, just because strawberries are great, but otherwise.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing something with oatmeal or oat-based products as well, which there can be like a wide range of glyphosate. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's something to that, the dirty dozen, all that. I just prefer to get everything organic just to be safe.
yeah.
But it's more expensive, but you know, if your health is priceless, it really is the most important thing. When you don't have your health, nothing else really matters. And dealing with, I've had quite a few people in my family get cancer, and we believe it's been through nutrition. So nutrition can either harm you or heal you.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I guess going from high school to college and then later on where you are now was kind of seeing your family members go through that. Was that part of the reason why you were kind of making some of the transitions in your life, or did that happen before or after?
Yeah, it was part of the process. It kind of opened Pandora's box for me when my mom got cancer. It made like things real in a sense that like your lifestyle decisions have an impact and they can potentially destroy your life. And one of the most eye-opening experiences was being in the hospital with my mom. She's getting chemo and radiation. She's very sick. They only give her a couple months left to live. And the nurse comes in and brings her food, and it's like a soda and a hot dog. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I was a fat kid at the time, but even I knew, I was like, probably feed her something healthy, right? So I brought it up with her doctor, and he was super dismissive. This doctor who's in charge of my mom's health is obese, covered in acne, just generally a bad vibe. Like, I don't trust this guy with anything. And he's in charge of my mom's life. I brought it up with him, and he scoffed in my face, and he said, it doesn't matter what they eat. Like she's a dog or something. Like just throw a bowl of slop at her. So that pissed me off. That made me not trust the medical establishment for a long time. I still don't. But it made me realize that they are completely blind to the influence of nutrition on disease. So it's in our own hands. We need to take control because the medical establishment isn't going to help us with this stuff. They're not presenting real solutions. They're hooked in with a big pharma system to push drugs on people and get you caught in that system for your whole life. So I don't want anything to do with that system at all.
Yeah, we could go down a deep rabbit hole on this easily. Don't get me started. Yeah, with the food and stuff like that, just because that's, I don't know. I agree with you. Like, there's unfortunately a lot of money to be made. And if people are healthy, those dollars are not being made.
Yeah. And then you get the side effects from the drugs where you could sell them more drugs. And it's like this vicious cycle. These people are sick. I don't know how they sleep at night. Like I feel bad if one person has like a weird reaction to one of our supplements one time because like someone maybe just, everyone has if you have thousands of customers, one person might react to a certain herb a little weirdly or something.
Sure.
And that will like make me so upset. But deliberately poisoning people day after day by the millions as you rake in profits, it's just demonic. I don't know how else to slice that. You have to have been divorced from your morality to think that that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to add. It's just like, I feel like it's just money. Like it's all like money-based decisions, you know? It's like, I think they know they're wrong about a lot of the stuff, like dietary recommendations, all that stuff. Like you said, there's big corporations paying, you know what I mean, to have the food pyramid wording changed. So you can
people dismiss it. Like, oh, I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh yeah. I was just going to say, like eating 11 servings of bread and grains per day, like it's probably not necessary, but that was like, that's the foundation of eating for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's all these special interests have bought the system, and they own the medical establishment and the dietary establishment, these special interest groups, you know? And it's just not it's not like science based. They, you know, they're all about trust the science. Their science has been bought and paid for.
Yeah, it's like cheapest ingredients they can push, you know what I mean? Make a
Yeah.
big profit and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think at a certain point in history, like obviously having enough food for people like was an actual issue. Like it was tough to do that. I could be like completely off in saying this now, but I feel like we can produce enough food now in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's more like, can we do it at higher quality?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That should be the focus.
Yeah. I guess backing up a second, I know we were talking about just medications and you starting your company. So back before you started, when did you start taking, was like the first supplement you can ever remember taking? And like what was it for, and like what was your experience with that?
Taking pre-workouts.
Yeah.
You know, we
same.
would take these crazy pre-workouts that was just like,
Dude.
might as well have just smoked some crack, honestly. I
Yep.
mean, we would get amped up and eyes bulging out of our head. And that eventually led me to start the company, because I would get so sick and so cracked out and so jittery and heart palpitations and all the above that I'd feel like I was going to shit my pants and pass out. And it was scary. Like, I was straight scared. And I talked to a lot of people who've had similar experiences with pre-workouts where they're like,
Yeah.
this does not feel healthy. So I decided to make a healthy one that was clean and organic and nutritious, because it was something I personally wanted to use. I was ready to change, you know?
Yeah, I had a similar experience as you. I didn't do too much like lifting or any sort of working out besides sports specific, like going to practice in high school. Like I played soccer, baseball, and then tennis, but I didn't really start lifting normally till like my freshman year at college. And there's just the information wasn't there on what to do. So literally what I would do, or my friends would do, we'd go into the gym, and if we'd be talking to like the most jack guy in the gym, would be like, well, what do you take for working out? And he's like, oh, I take this pre-workout. And so we're like, done. So well, it looks like we're taking this now. So I don't remember that. I think it was NO something.
NO Explode.
Probably. But exactly like you said, we'd be like my skin feels like it's crawling, and if somebody wants to talk to me, I don't know like how I'm gonna respond.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna be good.
Not going to be good. But it's like a drug. Yeah, it's crazy. I could always spot people in the gym who are on too much pre-workout. They're just like sweating and like shaky, and it's just miserable. And, you know, the whole point of going to the gym, yeah, we want to look good, but we also want to be healthy. You don't have to sacrifice your health to look good. It's one of the biggest problems in the fitness industry right now. People are sacrificing their health, getting on various drugs and supplements. It's a short term versus long term, you know?
For sure.
In my opinion, slow and steady wins the race, but I can't judge anyone for taking certain drugs and supplements that, I mean, there's no escaping the consequences. So people have different priorities. Like if your priority is health, you might want to choose a different route. If your priority is like live fast and like make the most of this like time right now, do your thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think as long as people are upfront about it, I have like a little bit of an issue with people who are like doing substance like anabolics and then saying that they're not. Like I have no issue.
My biggest pet peeve in the entire world, honestly.
Like the fake Natty type thing. Yeah.
It's so disingenuous, because Jeff Nippard made a video about the effects of steroid use and TRT, and even very like fairly mild TRT use. You can build 2 to 3 times more muscle than a natural lifter just taking it and not even working out. So you have a natural lifter working out pretty heavily.
Yep.
And then you have someone on a mild dose of TRT not working out, and he's gaining 2 to 3 times as much muscle. I might be slightly off with those numbers, but look up Jeff Nippard steroids versus natural, and they'll get into the full studies and everything. It was mind blowing. It's like It's not even close. So it's completely disingenuous and fucking fraudulent, excuse my language, to be on steroids and claim Natty. You suck.
Yeah. That's I don't know. I'm very against the idea. That really pisses me off. I think for somebody like us sitting here, like we've read and seen a lot of stuff, but if you're like a 14-year-old kid that's doing that, you're gonna believe what you see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Growing up, I think like my friend's dad was like pretty jacked growing up, so I was like, I want to be like this guy. And he had a Men's Health magazine, and he's just like, I just do the stuff in the magazine. So if it would say that, like that would probably be the stuff that I'd be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So especially, yeah, if someone's doing that, looking the way they do, and you're a kid, and you're maybe 50 to 60 pounds of muscle less than this person has that you're seeing it, you're going to be unhappy too with how you look, which is not
people
fair.
super insecure. They're like, well, this guy, why is he so much better than me? Oh, and then they'll try and sell you a course or some supplements like, oh, this protein powder made me have a 10-pack and these massive shoulders and everything. It's totally disingenuous. The other thing I have a problem with is people who do admit it, but they like aggrandize the lifestyle to young, impressionable kids, like the Trend Twins. Have you heard of the Trend Twins?
Yeah, I've seen it.
They just got hospitalized because they were packing a bunch of Zins and drinking energy drinks, and they're all juiced up. I mean, these guys are, I hope they don't, but they're probably going to die pretty young. And how many kids, impressionable young kids who want to look good and masculine, they want to start dating, and they look up to these guys like the Trend Twins, and they start doing steroids. That's a decision that affects you for the rest of your life. I have friends who nearly destroyed their lives by taking steroids in high school, and they had problems getting erections for the next like 5-6 years. They grew man tits. So many problems from one decision when you're in high school. So it's like a lot of people rag on, like the gender transition stuff for kids. And yeah, that's fucked up. You shouldn't do that to kids. But it's not all that different when you're influencing kids to get on hormone-changing drugs when they're in high school that could impact them for their whole life. It's a serious decision that should be made with a very sober and educated mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I think that's too, everyone can do what they want to do. I feel like for me, that's like way too young to make a decision like that without, you know what I mean?
Bro, I was doing stupid shit till I was like 29. So like 18 is a whole nother level.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that. Even doing any supplement at that age, I feel like it had a really bad connotation. It's probably because all the supplements were not that good for you. But even taking like a protein powder was, you know what I mean? I was a little bit nervous doing that initially. But yeah, it sucks though. I agree. Especially there's people like you mentioned, like the twins, but they have probably like millions of followers. But
millions, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you see somebody die, unfortunately, like God forbid that happens to anybody, obviously, but I feel like it's a common thing every year. There's always like a few very notable people.
Yeah, and these guys they're taking decades off their life. But for some people, they're totally down for that. They want to live fast and hard. And I think people should live however they want to. My thing is just influencing kids to do things that are irreversible. You know, that's where it perturbs me.
Do you think for a lot of people it stems from a place of, I mean, there's obviously people that want to compete, but do you think it stems from a place of like not feeling good about themselves doing
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. My friends
like steroids and stuff like that?
My friends who did steroids in high school, it came from a deep insecurity and looking up to people that they wanted to be like. So they would look up to the the really big guys, the muscle heads who are on the juice, and they wanted to be like that. And a lot of it comes down to guys who want to they want to feel attractive to the opposite sex or to whatever sex they're into. I mean, so much of the things that guys do is because they want to be attractive to women and vice versa. And it's understandable,
Oh, for sure. I mean, that was like one of the biggest reasons I started working out too,
Yeah.
for sure.
We all want to look good naked, you know?
Yeah. It used to be sports up to like the end of high school, but then when the competitive stuff stops, it's like, well, okay, why am I really doing this? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is the reason. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah. It's, the thing is too, you could look so good without steroids. It's a different kind of battle. You're thinking in terms of many years instead of months. But the people with the best physiques I know are all natural.
mm-hmm.
The ones who are older, you know, like one of my best friends is 45. He looks like he's 35. He has like an 8-pack, 100% natural, lifetime natural. And he keeps it simple. He eats a super clean organic diet. He gets a lot of sun. Doesn't eat seed oils.
Mm-hmm.
He does intermittent fasting. He has like a childlike wonder about life. He loves like splashing around at Barton Springs and riding his bike, which I think is important for keeping you young. You know, pretty whole food balanced diet. Takes a few supplements, and it just keeps it simple. And you do the same thing over and over for decades, and you age super gracefully.
Yeah.
Oh, and he doesn't drink, which helps a lot too.
Okay. Right on. Yeah. I was going to ask you a little bit about that too. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think like working out to, attract opposite sex is obviously like super important for most people. And I could be wrong. I don't know. Obviously, it depends on who you ask. Like, but speaking from a guy's perspective, I feel like most women would probably prefer a natural looking physique. I could be completely off in saying this too.
Yeah.
But maybe just the people that I'm associate with or have talked to.
Everyone has their own thing they're into, but from my experience, they definitely. Honestly, a lot of women I talk to are not into the muscle head type physiques at all, where it doesn't look natural. Just like I like big boobs, but I'm not into like huge fake boobs. Really, not really my thing. I prefer the natural beauty, but to each their own. Everyone's into something different, you know.
For sure.
But I would say the majority would prefer a muscular but natural, attainable physique, and lean. Lean is key, and unfortunately, juice can really. They call it the distended stomach from HGH and stuff. It makes your waist really thick.
Mm-hmm.
Women find most attractive the V taper. It's like the ratio of your hips to your shoulders. And it's kind of an illusion. It's based on the ratio. When guys who are on steroids, they tend to have way thicker, meatier hips and waist.
Yeah.
So it makes the ratio of the shoulders to hips less pronounced. And so it's less attractive.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Like obviously, like going back, like there's not people that really look like Arnold Schwarzenegger anymore with small waists and like bigger shoulders. But yeah, I think like if you gain, like it probably doesn't even take that much muscle to gain, but like if you put some muscle on in the right spots, like you look really, really good. It doesn't even have to be like that much weight.
Fellas, if you really want to look good to women, eat clean. Eat as clean as you possibly can, intermittent fast, and train shoulders. Everyone wants to train their chest and their arms, which is great. I would prioritize training your shoulders. Do shoulder press, do shoulder flies twice a week. Hit them hard and hit them often. Blow up your shoulders. And
look like him.
Well, I did notice when I was younger, I would always train my chest and arms, and that pulled me forward a bit. And I didn't train my shoulders that hard, and everything changed when I started prioritizing my shoulders and my back. You pull your shoulders back, and it impacts that ratio. And the way men and women respond to you when you have broad shoulders is like undeniable. It's look up the studies about it. I mean, it's like people can't help it. And I really noticed that personally in my personal experience and guys I'm friends with, once they built their shoulders, they noticed that the opposite sex was reacting differently to them. And then men will also treat you with a different level of respect.
Interesting. So it's like like a silent respect that people don't even know that they're necessarily doing. But if you have that type of frame, you're saying like people just, everyone responds to it.
Yeah, it's almost like we're hardwired to respond to certain things, you know? There's all different cues that we respond to, you know? It's like if someone has super yellow, messed up teeth or something, you might like universally almost people respond a little like they might be a little turned off by that. There's all different cues, right?
For sure. Yeah, that makes sense. But I'm like thinking of like 10 different things right now.
Yeah, good.
Oh, what does this do? What is this, good or bad? I don't know. But yeah, let's go back to, so after you graduated college, was the supplement company something you started right away, or did you work a different job previously?
It was,
what was that like?
It was pretty soon after college, yeah. Yeah, I was kind of trying to find my way. I really think, I don't know if you're spiritual, but I really feel like God like wanted me to do what I do. And I was thinking about this earlier, how like most of the profound and transformative experiences of my life where the ideas or catalysts happen during or after a fast. And the first big fast I ever did in my life was when organic muscle was born. Like not eating for a few days and praying about like my life was like a shit show. And I was praying about what I should do. And that's when organic muscle like came to me. I don't even think I came up with the idea. I think it like was planted. And I just felt an overwhelming urge that this was what I was supposed to do in my life. So I always tell people, if your life is in a crisis or you're at a crossroads, you don't know which direction to go, you're lost, you're hurting, fast and pray. When you fast and pray, the answers always come to you every time. Because it's almost like you're telling God that you're serious. Like when you cast away things you really enjoy, food, I mean, food's the most enjoyable thing ever. Or if you cast away other things like lust or porn or just anything you're struggling with, when you cast it away, it shows God you're serious and you're like really ready for some kind of higher truth.
So it's like you're making a sacrifice and there's some kind of intangible that comes up when you're doing that sacrifice where things can become more clear.
Yeah, that's the experience I've had. I've always had amazing experiences with fasting and like great ideas or breakthroughs coming to me, but it also just clears your body energetically because our body spends so much prana or chi, whatever you want to call it, life force energy digesting food. So when you're not digesting food, it's like that prana becomes available to heal you and also like to speak through, like your conscience becomes more, your conscience is able to speak to you more, like it shines through, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever done more than a 24-hour type fast. Is this something you do with regularity, or is it just
I wish I did it. I wish I did it more. I intermittent fast fairly regularly, but lately it's always, I don't know why I don't do it more. The chapters of my life where I had the most growth was when I was fasting the most. And I just did my longest fast of my life about a month ago, 5 days. Actually, last time I saw you, I was 5 days into a fast.
You seem pleasant. You seem happy.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Made me realize that you don't need a whole lot. Like we always think we need something when we have a problem. Oh, I need coffee, or I need food, I need a drug, I need this, I need a compliment, whatever. We don't need anything. Like we have everything we need. We were created to be exactly who we're supposed to be. And that was the realization I made on this fast. We don't need anything except the spirit that kind of gives us life.
Yeah, I agree. I would say for me, there'll definitely be times where I'm noticing, like, all right, you've had 3 cups of coffee today. You've had 4. Like, do I really need this, like, at all? Or am I just drinking this because I want it or like it?
Yeah.
Or
it's a drug.
Whatever else it is. Yeah. So I'll usually take like a week or 2 weeks off if I feel like I need it, just so I'm not you know what I mean? I don't want to wake up and be like thinking like, when's my next cup of coffee I'm gonna have today?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I definitely feel that like I can slip into that quickly, and then it's not necessary. Like you said, if you get like a hunger pain or you feel your stomach churning, like usually if I just wait 10 minutes, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And it's a reason why fasting is so great for the mind, because it's basically bodybuilding for your mind and your willpower. By saying no every time you get hungry, you're like, no, I'm fasting. No, I'm fasting. You train your mind to be like solid. Like anytime something comes up, a temptation or a bad thought, you're so much stronger to overcome that temptation or negative thought. Because you just said no to eating food when you're hungry 100 times. You could say no to anything. The hottest girl with the biggest boobs could come up to me and I could be like, no.
I would say yes.
I would probably say yes. That's absurd. But you do strengthen that no muscle, that ability to say no.
Yeah. I got distracted.
Yeah. Now you're thinking about it.
Yeah. Real or fake. It's all good. Either one. I lost my place. What were we talking about before?
It was strengthening your willpower.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Should we segue to a new topic?
Yeah, let's segue.
Okay. So organic muscle was like your first job, basically. Like you started it soon after school.
Pretty much all I've ever done, yeah.
Yeah. And so you started obviously having better quality ingredients, and the supplements was really important to you.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience starting the company? Like, was it way harder than you thought just to get things going?
Yeah. Everything has been harder. It's weird because it's harder and it's easier. Like in some ways, like starting a company when you haven't seems impossible, but you managed to do it. It was easier. We had success early on. And actually our early success was one of the worst things that ever happened to me, because we came out with the first ever certified organic pre-workout and it was like an instant success. We started doing really well. And that went straight to my head. And I'm like, I'm a genius. Everything I touch turns to gold. And I launched 3 more products that like all failed miserably, and it put us in a big hole. But it's valuable experience. One thing in business, always stay humble and always to stay active and discerning, because when you get cocky, God will always humble you. So I learned that lesson really hard, and now we're doing very well. But it took years to dig back from that, from just getting cocky and arrogant and not planning effectively. So yes, it is hard and it's easy. It's both. You'll have victories and you're going to have defeats. It's all about how you respond to both of those.
Right on. Yeah. How many years into it are you?
10 years.
You're 10 years?
Yeah.
How old are you?
34.
Are you 34? Okay. Yeah. 35.
Nice.
So, all right.
Oh, you look great, man.
You too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel like in Austin, there's people that are like sneakily look like significantly younger than they actually are.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Just with the health and wellness population here.
Yeah. And the joy, it's keeping that wonder about the world. It's like an attitude. Age is kind of an attitude, you know what I mean?
For sure.
People like give up on life. They're like, oh, 34, I'm an old man, you know?
Yeah.
And then they become an old man.
I don't like that. If you woke up and you didn't know how old you were or like anything about yourself and you just like saw yourself, how old would you think you are, or you feel in your body?
I feel good in my body. I feel good. If I had hair, I'd probably feel a lot younger.
You wake up and you have a hat on and you have to guess how old you are.
I don't know, 32?
Yeah.
31?
Probably around there for me too.
Yeah.
I forget sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll have a dream where I'm like a lot younger or sometimes older.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I believe, man, I believe like I'm going to look better when I'm 44 than when I'm 34. I actually know it because the path I'm on, every time I'm always learning so much about health and nutrition and biohacking, and I'm learning to think better, think more aligned with like higher virtues. And I have no doubt that we could look amazing when we're 70, you know?
For sure.
If you
see
keep
people. Yeah.
It's possible. We know it's possible.
What's your, like, do you have like a daily routine of stuff you do? Or like if you were to say like, what's the main stuff you do right now just to stay on point?
So I wake up early. I go to sleep early, wake up early. I usually wake up at 5 or 6. It depends on the day. I don't do a super long morning ritual. I'll wake up. I'll sit in my bread. I sit in my bed, and I'll just give thanks. Say like a quiet prayer. Wake up. I weigh myself. I'll chug a big glass of water, and then I do some very light journaling, like a few gratitude things, and then I'll plan out my day. Sometimes I'll be thinking about it the night before, but I'll take like the needle movers for that day, and I'll just journal about what I want my day to look like for a little bit. But all of this only I used to do these like 45-minute morning routines.
Yeah.
And that's great. I think part of me wants to get back to that, but part of me likes having this like quick 10, 15-minute routine. It seems more approachable.
Yeah, for sure. I've done like probably like around that time frame, like meditation, like the gratitude journal, some breathing type stuff. But yeah, now I'll usually just get up. I usually get up around like 6. I'll do like a quick journal, and then just same as you, I'll write the stuff I'm going to do that day. I'll usually knock out the most important needle mover stuff in the morning. I'll do that the first few hours before I go to the gym, which is right outside this door. Actually, we're in the radio room here. But yeah, very similar, I would say.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great schedule.
How did you, so you lost, I looked at some of your Instagram stuff, so I know you lost 80 pounds and obviously have kept it off. How did you do that? Like, what was you talked about your parents' health as being like a big impact and making some changes, but were there any other factors that went into that? And then how did you actually do it?
Yeah, there was a few factors that really contributed to it. The first step was realizing that I was fat and admitting it to myself. It's like the most important step. You'll never change if you don't admit that you have a problem. And my problem was that I had breasts. So a friend of mine who was a troll told me I was fat. You know, he was like, "Bro, you're fat." And I was like,
was he just called as it is type of guy?
Yeah. He's kind of a dick, but he was right. And it took me a while. It took me like a day or two to be like, looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, man, I really am. And it was super painful to admit. So I'm like kind of an extremist. And when I set my mind to something, I go all the way. So I'm like, I'm just going to fast. So I fasted for days on end. And I was like doing CrossFit while I fasted. It was too much, unhealthy, not a good way to go about it, but it was kind of good. It really did get the ball rolling downhill by just taking such an extreme first step. And then I was just started eating healthier when I would eat, stopped drinking soda and crap like that, cut down alcohol consumption significantly. And just created a lot of momentum, started training harder. That's another thing, training with intensity. I see people in the gym every day for hours and they just never seem to change. It's because they're not training with that intensity, you know?
Yeah.
Train hard and then rest, you know? But I think those things all helped a lot. Eating organic food, fasting, one long fast a month, and then intermittent fasting. I've never been one to track my nutrition. I know exactly what I'm eating, but I don't like track the calories and stuff usually. But I do think that is very helpful for a lot of people. I do recommend that. At a certain point, you just become an intuitive eater and you go off how you feel. But for beginners, I recommend tracking for sure.
Is it calories and macros, or mostly just calories?
Um, I think both.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of experimentation. You need to figure out what macro split works for you. Some people do better with high carb, some better with protein or fat heavy diet. It really depends. Health wise, nutrition speaking, I do understand that people respond to different diets, but I just recommend people eat as clean as possible and try and reduce harm. Like, I really do think there's something to being cognizant that, like, when you eat meat, that animals are being killed and that factory farms are really disturbing and demonic, in my opinion. So if you can, try and get your meat from some kind of like independent farm or pasture raised, something where you know the animals are at least living a good life. Because I think a lot of carnivores can just become divorced from the fact that animals are suffering, and it's not vegan propaganda. Like, one can believe that meat is very healthy and still be against suffering of animals, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think they're, what's it called? Mutually exclusive?
Yeah.
Is that the term? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, and you don't want to consume like traumatized meat either. You want to, if you're eating meat, you want to consume meat from a cow who lives a really nice life with their friends and like wasn't like in a freaking concentration camp, just with cortisol coursing through its veins the whole time, you know?
Yeah, I've read that about, I think it was Wagyu. Like, I know there's like a lot of different types of Wagyu, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong if you know, but the highest quality type of Wagyu is basically the stress-free life cows that are just walking around eating grass.
Oh, they get
and
massaged and pampered, and they live. Yeah,
it's like higher nutrient quality and everything.
It looks
like that.
completely different. The way it marbles and everything, it's a totally different consistency.
Just from the stress and the life that the animal had.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
It's pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, not something that would cross your mind, I would say, but like it makes total sense though.
Yeah. Yeah, something to consider, something to think about.
Yeah. Where did you find this information? Like, obviously, like intuitively when you're going to lose weight, like not eating like makes sense, but the other stuff, where did you find the information, or like how did you learn what to do, or were you just experimenting?
It's experimentation. I'm also like I'm a truth seeker, so I'm always researching, trying to learn, and then I'll implement things to see how I feel. So I've tried every diet: vegan, carnivore, keto, paleo. I've tried everything.
Really?
Everything. You don't have. It's hard to subscribe or promote a diet unless you have context, right?
Ideally, that would be good.
Yeah.
To do all of them.
Yeah. So I like learning and then trying things out.
Yeah.
I think that's wisdom is knowledge plus experience, right?
Yeah, I think that makes good sense. I would say I have no issue with people saying like, this is what I did and this worked for me, but I don't know if you can like definitively claim that like this is the best way for everybody without.
Yeah, you can't.
I guess research, but research is so confusing now because like you'll read a study, it's everywhere on Instagram too, where people are like any plant-based is bad for you or like animal-based is bad for you, and there's like these studies for all of them, but if you look at it,
dude.
they're usually biased in some way, or there's
sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I know carnivores who are super healthy, and I know vegans who are super healthy, and I know omnivores who are very unhealthy and very healthy too. And I know all of the above. I know vegans who look like they're dying. I know carnivores who look like they're dying. I know obese of everyone. It's like, first of all, you can do a plant-based 5,000 different ways, and you could do, well, carnivore is a little more simple. But like if you're eating shitty bacon all day as a carnivore as opposed to eating like Wagyu beef, like it's a different thing.
Yeah.
If you're a vegan eating candy all day versus eating like beans and like or lentils and like other highly nutritious plant foods, then it's totally different. So I would judge a tree by its fruits and just judge individuals based on their health.
Yeah, that's a good point. My one thing that I try to promote, I feel like I talk about it a lot, is just try to eat whatever type of diet you do, eat one single ingredient foods that don't have like added stuff to it.
Yes, so
Obviously,
important.
there's like some exceptions, but I feel like for me, if you use that as a compass, it's like it's really hard to fuck up,
Yeah.
whether you're eating like carnivore, keto, plant-based, because there's a veggie burger that you could look at and it has 18 different ingredients and seed oils and stuff, and it's bad.
Yeah.
And so at that point, like, I don't think that that's something people should be trying to eat. And there's the same foods for like meat type products as well. So I think there's a little more nuance to just the like what the type of food is.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. So anyways, what else we got? What else do I want to ask you? I'm trying to think.
How are we doing on time?
Let me see.
This is a fun interview, though, man. I'm really.
Are you having fun?
Yeah, I think it's a great. I'm super stoked. I think we're gonna. This is gonna be great because we're getting a little weird.
241.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We're getting a little weird,
Yeah,
It's fun.
I appreciate you just, I don't know, talking like the camera's off. I've been trying to do that.
Dude, there's so much content out there, and like, just keep it real, man. Who cares?
Yeah. So hopefully people, yeah. Hopefully people
we don't get
appreciate it.
canceled for talking about big boobs.
I don't think can they do that? I don't know.
I'd like for them to come after me about. Tell you what, I've done a lot worse than that, so it's all right.
What's your take on? So these drugs like Ozempic, like the GLP-1s, stuff like that, which have been really popular for people the last couple of years. Like, what are your general thoughts on that? Like, do you think they can be a good option sometimes?
Rarely. Yeah, Ozempic it's problematic. I'm pretty sure the Ozempic is banned in the country where it's made, and it's banned in a lot of Europe. But here, give it to the fat Americans. It's really the attitude about drugs in America that's so disturbing. It's like, it's honestly not that hard to lose weight if you do the right things. Like, eat less, eat whole foods, fast a little. Like, it's not that hard. It's literally, you can't fail if you do certain things. But we're so lazy and we're so disempowered that we need a freaking injection or a drug to do it. And did you know that Ozempic, go on Ozempic's, if you research it, once you go on a Ozempic, they want you to be on it for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, that's in the research studies.
Yes.
There's a research study specifically looking. It says like if you stop it, you're going to gain all the weight back.
Yes. So
brilliant.
It's like the most lucrative.
Yeah.
This is like the vaccine part 2, or the. Shit, are we gonna get? You might want to bleep that out so we don't get banned from YouTube.
I don't care.
Yeah, dude, they're hooking people for life, and then all the side effects, they sell you a new drug for that. I think it's pathetic. I would highly encourage people not to go on Ozempic. You don't realize what you're signing up for. It could be a lifelong thing, just like the high schoolers doing testosterone, like we talked about. Slow and steady wins the race. You can lose weight. You got this. There's like 4 things you have to do, and just stick to it. Believe in yourself and fast and pray, and you'll figure it out. Promise you.
Yeah. I mean, you lost 80 pounds doing it. So I feel like the fact you saying it carries a lot of weight. I've been a little bit overweight probably before, like where I look.
I was gonna say you
sure.
look pretty fat, dude.
Yeah,
you're kind of a pig.
Shit, I'll try to work on that. Yeah, there was yeah, I'm like probably like 160 right now. I just weighed myself yesterday, but I think the most I've been is like 180. But I don't have a big frame either though. So like me at 180, I remember my buddy and I, this was probably like 2014 or 17. We did it like twice. We were just like, it was one winter. We're like, let's just bulk really hard this winter and we'll just gain as much weight as we can. We'll both do it. And every couple days a week, we'd have a spreadsheet. We would like record our weights on there. And so we started out around the same weight. It was like 165-ish. And we're like, let's gain 15 pounds in 3 months. And each day, like one of us would pass each other and we would like text the other one, like, hey, little guy, like, how's the day going? But even gaining, like, for me, like the 15 pounds, I got heartburn just from 15 pounds. It was like
Wow.
very frequent. I was like squatting down and my pants were like not fitting. I like blew out the crotch on multiple pairs of my work pants.
That's humbling.
Yeah, not good. I had to, yeah.
I think you look super healthy right now. You look
Oh, thanks, dude.
great. You
Yeah.
look very, very like proportional and muscular, and your skin looks healthy. It's like what you're doing right now is great.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think like years ago, like my friends were like bigger than I am. So I think like part of it was like, I gotta get up to like this other weight. But I think for certain people like me, like weighing 170, 180 is just not a healthy weight for me, where it just feels bad. Like my family were just thinner build Italian people, like, you know what I mean? Where I feel good the weight I am right now. So I'm not
That's
trying,
all you need to know, man.
not trying to switch it up, which is good.
Yeah. Trust that feeling.
Took a while to kind of like be cool with it, but I think
Accept it. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. That's
But,
good.
yeah, I appreciate it.
My family's big built Italians.
Are they?
Yeah. We're like, we're anomalies. My family's like 6'5", blue-eyed Italians.
Oh, damn.
It's weird. Yeah. From Southern Italy too, where they're like usually brown-eyed midgets.
Are they shorter, Southern Italy?
Yeah. Short and dark. Yeah.
Have you ever done a 23andMe or those things? So
Yeah.
you're just full Italian?
Well, on my mom's side, I'm not. My dad's side, they're Italian, and my dad's 6'5", blue eyes. My grandpa, they all had blue eyes, and they were all Italian, Southern Italian.
Interesting. Yeah. I remember when I went to Italy with my family, I think it was my senior year of college. There's a lot of blue-eyed people there. I think people don't realize it. Like if you actually go there, it's
I'm
not
going for the first
uncommon.
time this summer. I'm excited.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sweet. Do you have an itinerary set?
Oh, I got a lot of planning to do. I'm going to be, my best friend's getting married at Lake Como, but I'm hoping to be able to travel the country.
I've never been there. I've seen photos and stuff. It
looks nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where all the celebs are having their lake houses and stuff, I feel like.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to my lake house out there.
That's sweet, dude. Congrats.
Cool.
I don't know what we got for time. I feel like we went like this type of route, but we talked about like pretty much everything I had.
That's kind of the best doing it that way.
Yeah. I just sat down. I was like, what would be sweet to talk about? What's your, I guess, experience right now, like alcohol wise, or you could take this the other way, like mushroom psychedelics type stuff?
Ooh, I got a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
I'm almost a year sober from alcohol. Haven't had
Nice.
any alcohol in a year, and it's been really beneficial for me. I could say a lot about alcohol. Alcohol is not a high vibration drug. It does way more harm than good to society and individuals, and I was no different.
When you say high vibration, what do you mean? Is that just kind of like what your body's experiencing?
By that, I mean it aligns you with like higher truths of the universe. So like, for instance, mushrooms, and I think if done with the right intention, can align you to some like cosmic universal truths about love and the nature of God and things.
Yeah.
Whereas alcohol, on the other hand, makes you lustful and do stupid things, which is the opposite of like high divine truth.
Yeah.
You know, doing shots in a bar and listening to like, it was not beneficial to my life. And I know for a lot of people, it's not beneficial. So I cut it out. It was really hurting my fitness goals as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just losing days, and there's nothing more depressing than like laying in bed and losing a day of your life because you're hungover.
Yeah.
So one day I just had such a horrible hangover that I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And thankfully I had a friend who was in the same boat and really wanted to stop drinking. So we did it together, which made it a lot easier. I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah. What's your experience been since then? I guess being in Austin, for people that don't know, there's like a lot of, it's big in the community to not drink, but how's your like social experience been not drinking? Is it tough, or are you doing fine with that?
It was tough at first, but I'm so happy it was because I realized I started drinking when I was like 15. 15, yeah.
That's underage, dude.
Yeah, I was a little criminal. So I started drinking young, and like, you know, when it wasn't until I stopped drinking that I realized like every first kiss I had had in my life, I had been drinking. Like I had never gone on a date and not had a couple of drinks, or I had never like gone to a party and not at least had a couple of drinks. So I had to relearn how to socialize. It was so like just a part of my life that I didn't even realize that I didn't have like some of these basic social skills to be able to go to a big social gathering and feel comfortable in my own skin as who I was. So I had to learn how to do all that, and it was so rewarding, because I wasn't running from anything anymore. I was embracing who I was and like learning how to be me in a social context. So now I feel more comfortable. And it's important to remember that when you're not drinking and you feel a little awkward at a party, it's important to remember that you were awkward before when you were drinking too. You were just a little more oblivious to it. You were probably more awkward and weird and annoying then. When you're sober, when you're not drinking, just it's okay to feel a little awkward or nervous. Just sit with it and you'll get through it and you'll have a great time.
For sure. Yeah. I've drank a little bit the past year, probably like the last 12 months. I've probably had like a few drinks, but for the most part, like I don't.
Nice.
But yeah,
what have you noticed with it?
Workout's definitely better. I feel like if I drink, you don't notice it, but for me, it's like 3 days before I'm 100%.
Yeah.
And then if you're doing that every weekend, it's like you have 2 good days a week.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So I have noticed that. I think the social part of it, I'll still do stuff. Like I don't want to be out late drinking anyway, where I'm like looking for like a late night, like getting drunk at the bar, like looking for a hookup. So like I haven't done that in a while, but I like going out like during the day and doing stuff. And
Yeah.
even if I'm like holding a non-alcoholic drink, it has like the same feel to me. Where you know what I mean? Nobody's going around auditing like, is there alcohol in there? So,
yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know, that I feel like I don't even really need that much anymore, but it's still nice to like have something.
Yeah. A little tip for people who aren't drinking. It's like a lot of the time it's not worth it to be like, I'm not drinking and telling everyone. I learned that the hard way. If people like ask if I was drinking, I'll be like, oh, I'm driving tonight. It's like not usually worth it to get into a big spiel because other people are drinking and they're having a good time. Like it's not the time or place to bring down their vibe. I made this mistake trying to make this self-righteous. Well, alcohol is, you get possessed by spirits and there's, it's this negative thing. It's just not the time or place.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, I usually just tell people like I don't drink, and then I don't know. I feel like people I hang out with, they're not like peer pressuring me. There's like a few people that will, like have fun.
Yeah,
don't be a bitch. But yeah, for the most part, that's not the case. But
yeah, most people are cool. I guess I had a couple weird experiences where like,
yeah. But that's more, I feel like that's more their issue because obviously like drinking's not bad if you can do it and take care of your business and you feel fine. Like I have some of my most fun times I've had like while drinking with your buddies or doing stuff. Like I don't regret any of it.
But, it's so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just for right now. Yeah. It's just like not something I foresee myself doing with much regularity.
Yeah. Yeah. If I didn't get hungover, I might do it, but I just feel like I'm dying. I think that's part of the harm of like eating really healthy is that like now I'm like can't handle.
You noticed every
impurity
dip.
And like it was. If you're like chronically poisoned by McDonald's and like low quality water and all these things, like drinking probably is not as doesn't bring down your vibe as much. But for me, it was like crushing.
Just because you feel good, you're 100% all the time. And if there's a dip, it's really noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't know when I first started noticing that, but even if I have like a meal that's like really unhealthy, maybe it's a placebo effect where I'm just like, oh, I know I ate that. Obviously, placebo effect's strong. So, but yeah, I feel like it makes a difference.
Absolutely does.
Yeah. Check the time one more time. We got a few more minutes.
Cool.
What's next for you with business wise? Like, what are you working on if you're able to share?
I am launching a new product.
Ooh.
We're coming out with the market's first all organic testosterone booster. So it's going to be like 10 ingredients, well known, well studied for boosting testosterone, the cleanest organic versions of the herbs and fruits. And I'm going to keep some of the ingredients under wraps for now, but that'll be coming in like 2 months. So I think that's going to be huge. Sweet. We just launched the world's first organic Tonkatali, which is doing really well. And it's a testosterone boosting herb, and it really gets you going. And yeah, man, just growing the business, scaling into some international markets, and then building my podcast, Organic Wisdom. So
awesome. Where can people find your podcast and website and just all of your information?
Sure. Our website is organicmuscle.com. On Instagram, it's Organic Muscle. I'm James Benefico. You can find me on Instagram. And my podcast is called Organic Wisdom. First guest was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which was pretty cool.
No shit.
Yeah, well, quite the first guest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I'm really excited. Just trying to live an aligned life and giving thanks every day.
Good for you. Yeah, that's exciting stuff. I appreciate you joining me on here today. This was fun.
It was fun, man.
I would have did this if we weren't filming it as well.
Yeah, dude. So, I had a great time. You asked really good questions, and it was a fun conversation.
Right on. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. And check out James. I'll put everything down in the description below so you can find everything. But
sweet. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks, brother.
All right.